All right, welcome. Today we are diving into something pretty huge, a blueprint for a totally new way of working together to solve our planet's biggest, thorniest challenges. It's a vision for how we move from being fragmented and competitive to a future that's all about collaboration and, well, regeneration.
You've probably asked yourself this, right? I mean, we see all these reports on climate change, on inequality, on ecological collapse. We know there are literally thousands of brilliant people and organizations working on this stuff, but progress, it feels impossibly slow. The problems just seem to be getting worse, not better. So what are we missing here?
Well, the reality is we're not just facing a laundry list of separate problems. We're facing what a lot of experts are now calling the polycrisis. Think of it like a tangled web where everything is connected. Climate instability makes the economy more fragile, which then frays our social fabric. Each crisis just feeds the others, creating this cycle that feels, pretty overwhelming. And this, right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the issue. Our old ways of doing things, working in our own little silos, competing for the same funding, trying to fix one symptom while ignoring the cause, it's just failing us. In a world this interconnected, the truth is simple. Fragmented action no longer works. It's like trying to fix a complex engine by just polishing one little gear. It doesn't do a thing. So, okay, if fragmentation is the problem, what's the solution? Well, the concept we really need to wrap our heads around is synergy. This is the missing link. This is what could transform all our isolated efforts into a single, powerful, coherent movement. So what is synergy exactly? It's this simple but really profound idea that the whole can be way, way greater than the sum of its parts. Think of a flock of birds flying in formation, or a healthy, thriving ecosystem. When all the different elements are aligned, their combined efforts don't just add up, they multiply. And this is the key to unlocking what's been called a synergy world, a world where we could achieve this incredible, harmonious, regenerative development using far fewer resources, just by working smarter together. Okay, so this isn't just some abstract idea. This brings us to a tangible proposal, a new global blueprint called Phoenix. It's designed to be the shared infrastructure that makes this kind of planetary scale synergy not just a nice idea, but actually practical. Now, Phoenix isn't another app or some top-down command and control system. You should think of it more like a collaborative commons, an evolving digital ecosystem where NGOs, governments, innovators, and communities can finally align their work, share what they know, and coordinate their actions effectively. To really get its potential, there's this great analogy from another industry. So before the 1960s, the airline industry was a total mess, fragmented, wildly inefficient. Then came Sabre. It was a shared reservation system that connected all of them, and it unlocked massive, massive efficiency. Phoenix is aiming to do for global climate action what Sabre did for air travel. Create that shared infrastructure that turns all that competition and fragmentation into real coordination and coherence. The source material uses this really powerful metaphor to describe what Phoenix does. It calls it a planetary nervous system. Just think about that for a second. A nervous system allows a living thing to sense what's happening, process all that information, and then coordinate a holistic response. And that's exactly what Phoenix is designed to help all of humanity do, but on a global scale. So let's look under the hood. At the very heart of the Phoenix platform is this incredibly powerful intelligence layer called the synergy engine. You can think of this as the operational backbone that makes all of this coherent, global action even possible. So how does it actually work? Well, it operates in 4 key stages. First, it connects all these diverse players, linking everyone from a small community group in one country to a national government in another. Second, it senses what's happening globally by pulling in massive amounts of real-time data. Third, and this is where it gets really revolutionary, it uses sophisticated AI to align all these different groups. It's constantly scanning for hidden opportunities, highlighting where one group's project perfectly matches another's skills. It makes synergy visible and actionable. And finally, it gives everyone the tools to coordinate that shared action. And when we say it senses the world, we are talking about an incredibly holistic view. This is not just about high-level climate models. The real power of the synergy engine is its ability to integrate these vastly different data streams, weaving together things like satellite observations with real-time economic indicators, social data, and, this is crucial, input from actual communities on the ground. It creates this rich, multi-layered, dynamic map of our world that we have just never had before. But look, this isn't just about building a better tool to manage crises. The goal is so much bigger than that. It's about using this synergy to enable a fundamentally different future, a truly regenerative world.
The ultimate goal here is to move beyond simply being sustainable, which, let's be honest, often just means doing a little less harm. The goal is to become truly regenerative, where our human activity is actively healing and restoring our planet's ecosystems. This is about reharmonizing our entire civilization with the living, breathing dynamics of the planet itself. This quote just captures the profound shift in thinking so perfectly. For centuries, we've basically operated as if human progress has to come at the expense of nature. This vision completely flips that destructive idea on its head. It proposes a world where a healthy planet and a healthy humanity aren't in conflict at all. They're two sides of the same coin. What this really represents is a fundamental transition in our role on this planet. We move from being these reactive firefighters, constantly scrambling to manage the latest crisis, to becoming proactive gardeners or stewards of our planetary home. It's a deep shift from a mindset of control and extraction to one of care, participation, and shared responsibility. The sources describe this as nothing less than a coming-of-age story for our entire species. It's a civilizational transition from an extractive adolescence, where we just took what we wanted without any thought for the consequences, to a regenerative adulthood, where we finally understand our deep interdependence and start acting with wisdom and collective foresight. And that, of course, leaves us with the final urgent question. The tools and the blueprints for this kind of transition, they're being imagined and they're being built. But the technology is only an enabler. The real challenge, the hard part, is a human one. So the question isn't really what to do anymore, it's whether we can finally learn to do it together.